All right, let's do a follow up on gold. Um, so the other day I warned people that this was going to happen, so this should not be any surprise. Um, Obviously, the cartel knew what the employment numbers were, and they were prepared with a large attack on metals. Uh, at first I didn't think they were going to succeed in breaking this June low, but the unrelenting selling on Friday um, has convinced me that they are going to get some kind of an undercut of this June low, and what was naturally a first daily cycle, they're going to abort that, and they're going to turn this into a third daily cycle that makes a lower low before this intermediate correction is done. And I've warned people over and over that metals are, other than the currencies, they're the most heavily manipulated markets on the planet. So without a doubt, the cartel is going to win this battle. We should get some kind of bounce at this support zone right here at the June low. Maybe early next week, we'll get a little bounce here. They'll do the same thing that they did right here when I warned people this was coming. They will, if you don't take profits quickly on that bounce, then the cartel is going to pull the rug out from underneath you again, and then they're going to almost certainly they're going to break this. Now, this can unfold in one of two ways. It could be just a marginal break, and the cartel covers those shorts into that marginal break, and then we get our intermediate cycle low, and then we're into the advancing phase of the intermediate cycle in earnest. Or they could try and create that bloodbath phase, that 5 to 7 days of all-out panic. This is an example of one of them right here. When this support zone broke, then we get this unrelenting selling day after day. I think this was 7 days, a couple of little bounces in between, but they usually don't amount to much. Same thing could happen right here. When this support zone breaks, they may go for broke here and try and create that bloodbath phase, and we get that 5 to 7 days of selling panic, and then we get our intermediate cycle low. Or it could just be a marginal break, and that's good enough. They cover the shorts, and then they get long. I'm gonna watch the miners as to maybe get some kind of clue as to which it is. All right, so here's the miners GDX. You can see we got a partial reversal off the bottom. I doubt that that's going to be a final bottom, but if gold does come down and break the June low and make a lower low, and the miners are starting to diverge, then I might be interested in trying to maybe pick a bottom on just a marginal undercut. One other thing I'm going to watch is the volume on the double leveraged funds, both Nugget, which is what I've got here, and JNUG. If we, I mean, we got to some extent we got it on Friday. This is about double normal volume. If we see a really big volume sell off, and especially if we see a really huge volume up day, that's usually a pretty good tell that we've either, very often it will pick the exact bottom to the day, and if not, it's close enough to where it doesn't really matter that much. Um, so that's something else I'm going to watch um, next week when or when we get that undercut. Maybe next week we just get that bounce off of support, and it's the week after that we get the undercut in the final cycle low. But I'm going to be watching the volume in these two double leveraged funds very closely for clues that we've completed that intermediate cycle low. So any of you that have been watching the videos and have been paying attention, you were prepared. You were prepared for the attack. You knew it was coming. You could have lightened up your positions on the open right here. Uh, I had already warned people this was coming, so this was a potential spot to lighten up positions. I did see some of the people in the challenge exit their metal positions into that pop in anticipation of this move down into a daily cycle low. So anybody that's been watching the videos and paying attention should be in pretty good shape, and And I think most people understand that we're getting very close to a final intermediate cycle low, even though the cartel did manage to kill this first daily cycle and stretch the intermediate cycle a little bit further. It's in the long run, it's not going to make any difference. They're going to cover the shorts and they're going to go long at some point, and we should be pretty close to that right now. The next week's going to be week 22 of the intermediate cycle, and most cycles last between 20 and 24, 25 weeks. So we're right in that timing band. We're late in the daily cycle. Um, we're going to get a bottom here probably, maybe not next week because I think we're going to have a bounce next week, but probably the week after that I would be looking for a final bottom, and then the next advancing phase like this was here. So I don't think there's too much more downside to have to weather before things start to get happy again.